Thank you for listening to the SavePoint podcast. Please consider subscribing at youtube.com/SavePointVids. Follow us at SavePointVids on all major social media platforms for up-to-the-minute updates on everything SavePointVids related. If you find us entertaining and informative, please leave a thumbs up or a 5-star rating on your platform of choice. Your patronage is very much appreciated, and we could not do this without you. And now, on to the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SavePoint podcast. I'm your host, Josh Taylor. This is episode 6, I believe, and it's going to be all about the E3 2019 press conference. What we saw, what we didn't see, what we wanted to see more of. I thought, just to kind of jump right into it, I thought it was a good conference. I didn't think it was great by any means. The big games that we were expecting to see, we didn't see enough of. I don't think Microsoft did a whole lot to say, hey, this is why you need an Xbox right now. They are very much still playing for the next generation. They are still playing for 2020 and beyond. I mean, if you look at the big three, Halo, Gears, and From Software, George R.R. Martin game, we didn't get anything more than cinematic CG trailers. I thought that was kind of disappointing. I was hoping we were going to see more of that, maybe a gameplay demo, something along those lines. They had some great announcements, but from again, I get my point is that they are definitely, again, playing for the next gen. They didn't have a whole lot to say, this is why you need to pick up an Xbox today. This is why you need to pick up an Xbox now. I think, with their messaging, they've definitely conceded this generation, and maybe rightfully so, but they've definitely conceded this generation and are playing for, Project Scarlett, and, Xcloud, and kind of how all that ties together with the next generation. Not to say that it was a bad conference. I still think there were a ton of great showings there. Cyberpunk 2077 is the one that jumps to mind. Man, that game just looks fucking awesome. It just looks incredible. And I know we didn't get that trailer that they showed was definitely it looked like a CG trailer. I don't know if it was in engine or not. It definitely wasn't gameplay, but it just looks incredible. I just want to get lost in that world. We finally got a release date. It was April 16th of 2020. The coolest thing was Keanu Reeves. He is so big right now. I was so pumped to see that, with him and John Wick, just the resurgence of Keanu Reeves. I thought that was a really cool thing. That game is probably the game of the show, or at least the game of that conference. Definitely the game of that conference, potentially the game of the show, just based off of what we saw. I just want to get lost in that world so bad. If it's anything like The Witcher in terms of its depth and scope, we could hopefully sink hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game, and I hope that's kind of the route that they're taking. I'm so excited to see it. We saw a little bit more of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. A lot of it was the same footage that we saw yesterday at EA Play. But there was some extra stuff in there. I still think that looks good. That's probably, as of right now, that's still my most anticipated game of this year that has an actual release date. So I'm excited for that. I want to see more of that. Look, it got everything that I want. It's, lightsabers and force powers and a story-driven, single-player action adventure game, and that's exactly what I want. I think that's obviously exactly what a lot of people want, and I think that they're going to deliver. So I'm excited to see that. Some of the other games we saw, the conference itself actually started with Outer Worlds. That game looks interesting. It's kind of like a mix between Borderlands and maybe Far Cry is kind of what it reminded me of. I'm very interested. I like Obsidian a lot. I like what they did with, Fallout New Vegas, specifically. That was actually like that one more than Fallout 3 when those originally came out. So I'm excited to kind of see what they can do. I'm very, the trailer was, you can, like any game like that, you can be the good guy or you can be the bad guy. It's all, depending on how you want to play. So I'm excited to see. Ninja Theory with Bleeding Edge didn't really do it for me. 4v4, it looked like Combat Arena type of game. Different fighting styles, you gotta assemble your team, to shore up any weaknesses. Those type of games, the Overwatch-esque Apex type of games, and I know it's not a direct one-to-one comparison, but those games don't really do a whole lot for me. But there's obviously an audience, and then those type of games are as big now as they've ever been. So they are clearly playing to that crowd. So hopefully that comes out and people love it. The next one they actually showed was Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and I just want to say this game looks freaking incredible, and I just mean that specifically with the art style. Everything about that game just looked amazing, absolutely amazing. The animations, the way that the background and the foreground played with each other, just the animation and the detail and everything, it just looks amazing. It, I believe, comes out in early 2020, February 11th, 2020. It's a little later than I was anticipating. I was hoping it would be like a late summer or fall game. But, that's a game where, take your time, make it as great and as polished as it can be and as it needs to be. And we'll be obviously here to play it when it's ready. Then we had Minecraft Dungeon, I believe is what the name of it was. It's basically, it looks like a roguelite dungeon crawler, Minecraft set in the Minecraft universe, Minecraft Dungeons. So if you're into that, obviously there's an audience there. Minecraft is still as huge as it's ever been. That game is still played by millions and millions and millions every single month. Then after that, Phil Spencer came out and basically reiterated the message that they have been kind of talking about for the last probably year or so, is that gaming is for everyone, everywhere, anytime, and that obviously plays into the Xcloud where you can stream your games. But yeah, so he comes out and talks about that. Then again, we get that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We get a world premiere, which is the Blair Witch game. It's if you didn't see it, it's a first-person horror game, very atmospheric. It reminded me a lot of Outlast in that you used a video camera a lot of the time, or at least that seemed to be an integral part of the actual gameplay. But it's set in the Blair Witch. Again, that was it just looks messed up. Those games, as much as I want to love horror games, I just cannot. I'm a scaredy cat. I just can't do it. So that's probably one that I'm going to have somebody either play for me or I'll watch a Twitch stream of it. But it looks cool. Then again, Cyberpunk 2077, it, just like I said before, it looks absolutely incredible. That's definitely skyrocketed to the top, if not, near the top or the top of my most anticipated games. And again, Keanu Reeves, he's living his best life right now, and I'm excited. Then we saw a couple of smaller games. We saw Battletoads, House Spiritfarer, which was the houseboat type of game. It looked like 2D animated platformer. Then we saw RPG Time, The Legend of Wright, which was that it looked like the game took place, or the art style was in a notebook. Then we saw some indie montages. Sarah Bond came out and talked about day one Xbox Game Pass. Then they talked more about it as far as like the PC has over 100 games just for PC, starting and highlighting the Halo Master Chief Collection. It launches in open beta today for $10 a month. Then they announced the Game Pass Ultimate for console. It's Xbox Live Gold and PC, or it's for console, and then you get Xbox Live Gold combined, and then you get PC at no additional cost, and then you can play today for $1. So I don't know how long that $1 thing is. Maybe it's just for the first month. But again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, Microsoft for the last 12 or 18 months, they've been very pro-consumer in things like Game Pass, accessibility, inclusiveness, the adaptive controller, pushing cross console play, with Fortnite and things like that, putting their previously exclusive Xbox titles on things like Nintendo Switch, with Cuphead and Minecraft. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Then we got Microsoft Flight Simulator, very pretty, not my type of game, but obviously somebody out there is very excited about it. Age of Empires 2, now in 4K. They have a new campaign. Then this game, Wasteland 3, not really doing it for me. Kind of a post-apocalyptic game, and things with like post-apocalyptic, I'm starting to feel that way. The way most people feel about zombie games is how they're played out. They are, it's cliched, it's overdone, it needs to go away. That's how I feel about like every game, it seems like, is a post-apocalyptic game. Now, with that said, there are several games like that I'm still excited for, like Borderlands 3, but it seems like every game now is like some take on post-apocalyptic or, something like that, and it's just kind of, for me, it's getting a little tired. After that, Matt Booty, head of First Party Studios, came out and announced that they had acquired Double Fine, and that Tim Schafer then came out on stage. We saw a new Psychonauts 2 trailer. If you're familiar with the first Psychonauts, it's a very quirky art style, if you follow the industry, very Tim Schafer-esque art style and personality, third person platformer action adventure type of game. And kind of going back to Double Fine being acquired by Microsoft, I think that the video game industry specifically is very interesting in that we as gamers are the only ones that kind of cheer and, get excited about a big, corporation acquiring smaller companies. I don't think that happens in any other, you know what I mean? Like, when like a Sony or a Microsoft or a Google like buys out a smaller studio, like we cheer and we love it and we want, we're excited. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the game business specifically, but I don't see that happening in any other industry. It's just kind of, it was interesting and kind of, came to my mind. Anyway, so after that, we saw a world premiere for Star Wars Legos, all 9 films. The whole entire Skywalker saga is going to be playable in that one game. I don't believe they had a release date, but if you're into the Lego games, you know what you're getting into. This doesn't seem to be breaking the mold at all. Then Dragon Ball Action RPG came out. Didn't really have a whole lot of details, a lot of Dragon Ball Z, action as far as like the moves, and we saw Goku power up to Super Saiyan, so that looks interesting. There's definitely a niche audience for that. And then we saw 12 Minutes from Annapurna. It looks like a top-down style type of game, a lot of replayability, multiple scenarios. It's about a man, and from the trailer that we glimpsed, it says that he was stuck in a time loop where I'm assuming this 12 minutes just plays out now. Like one scenario, the main scenario that we saw was that there's like something happened, and then the police came in and accused him of doing something, and he tried to fight the police, and he grabbed a knife and tried to attack, and then he was subdued, but then it kind of flashes through a quick montage, and then we see other scenarios where, like, the police confront them in the bathroom, or, the police don't come in at all, and they just, him and his wife or girlfriend, whoever it was, are sitting on the couch and just kind of relaxing, and so it looks like branching past probably on, the way you answer questions, or different scenarios can play out in different ways. So that's interesting. I'm intrigued by that one. Then Way to the Woods, which was I named it the Bambi game. It looks like a very stylized, it kind of reminded me of Journey a little bit, a third person game. It looks like you control a deer and a baby deer. What is it? A fawn, and you find your way home. You're going through different, modern environments. The trailer showed them going through like a train station, a subway station, and kind of like, so who knows what the story is behind that, but it looks like you're trying to get back to the woods, hence the name Way to the Woods. After that, we saw Gears 5 confirmed for a September 10th release date. You can play 4 days early if you have Game Pass Ultimate. They talked about having a versus multiplayer reveal and maybe like a beta in July, then in August having a horde mode. But then they talked about, today they talked about escape mode. And if I jotted this down correctly, a team of 3, they infiltrate and they plant a bomb, and then they have to escape. It's a 3-player co-op mode. They didn't have any actual gameplay, which I was with a September release date, I was expecting, if not Halo and again, the other game, the Elden Ring, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I was expecting Gears to have some type of gameplay, and we didn't see it. We saw I thought the style was very weird. They had, Lil Jon playing his version of Crazy Train, the Ozzy Osbourne mashup, and it was just a very weird tone. So it seems like they're going for more of a mainstream party mode, or, like co-op, obviously, co-op type of experience. And the main story, the campaign doesn't seem, as of right now, to seem as much of a focus. So I'm intrigued, by that. But with Gears, I don't think we're going to get anything that we haven't seen before. It's going to be a third person, cover-based shooter. So maybe that's why they're kind of, focusing on that. At the very least, I thought we were going to see gameplay, and so that kind of disappoints me that we did not. But I'm sure it's going to be great. That it's one of their main tentpole franchises and IP, and I don't expect that game to come out and not at least be great, if not fantastic. But still a little bit disappointing. And then they announced that Terminator Dark Fate, the upcoming Terminator movie, you get a character pack with a pre-order to Gears 5. So again, that comes out September 10th. I'm assuming we'll see more maybe at Gamescom obviously we'll see more in July and August for those specific modes, but I would imagine that we would see a look at the campaign maybe at Gamescom in August as well. Then they kind of did a quick montage or reveal of the Elite Controller 2, just basically improved quality of the materials and improved design. So that's coming out. You can pre-order that now. Then we get a Dying Light 2 cinematic trailer with a spring 2020 release date. Dying Light is personally one of my favorite games this generation. It's not the best game, but it was just so unique. It was a very, first person parkour zombie game. I'm very excited about this. I think spring is probably a good time for it. So I'm excited to see more. Then we saw the world premiere of Forza 4 with a Lego Speed Champions expansion mashup. It launches this week. So if you're into Forza and you are into Legos, this seems like right up your alley. Then very quickly, they showed the Gears of War Funko mobile game. Then State of Decay 2 Heartland has a new story, 2 paths. I think it releases today. Double check me on that. I'm not 100% sure. It looks cool. It looks like there's two branching paths. One, it looks like you play as a woman who is looking for her father. And the other one, it looks like you play as an older man, maybe in his late 40s, he says he's looking for a hero. I don't know exactly what that meant. But yeah, if you're into I didn't play State of Decay 2 or the first one for that matter, but the people that do play it really, really love it. So, if you're into that, again, I think it releases today, so check that out. Then we get a world premiere for Phantasy Star Online 2. It has crossplay with PC. It's free to play, coming out in spring 2020. I am very intrigued by this. I remember playing the original Phantasy Star Online, but actually on GameCube. It was on Dreamcast and GameCube, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember playing it on GameCube. I was very interested in it, and I am actually very interested in that, checking that out. With it being free to play, you can obviously bet that there'll be tons of microtransactions and things like that. But being free to play, it'll definitely have basically a minimum barrier to entry, so it's worth checking out, or at least I think it's worth checking out. Then we saw Crossfire X from Smilegate. Again, this was more of a cinematic trailer. We didn't get any real gameplay. It says first Xbox One X in 2020. It has a very grounded, military feel. It looks like maybe in the not too distant future. Didn't really get anything as far as like the story is concerned, but keep an eye out on that. Then we get a world premiere for Tales of Arise. The art style looks really great. I'm a big fan of traditional JRPGs, so this looks right up my alley. Big swords, lots of colors, big bosses and enemies and things like that. Big Tales fan. Tales of Symphonia was one of my favorite GameCube games as well. And, I'm pumped for this. So 2020 release date didn't give us any more detailed information than that. Then we got another look at Borderlands 3, reconfirmed the September 13th premiere. And then one of my other big disappointments was the George R.R. Martin game from Software. It looks high fantasy. It's called Elden Ring, but they didn't really show anything about this. I was very disappointed by that. I know it leaked a couple days early. I was really hoping we were going to see something, in engine at the very least, if not gameplay. It just goes to show me that, they didn't even put a release year on this. So I don't even know if 2020 is feasible. It might even be later than that. So it tells me that, similar to what happened when Sony announced their partnership with Kojima and Kojima Productions when they first announced Death Stranding, it looks like it's very early, probably pre-production. I don't think any real development has started. So who knows? Obviously we'll see more as time goes on, but I was a little disappointed that this game it seemed to be hyped up in the community and the industry, and then to not really even have a trailer that showed us too much at all. Again, it just showed like high fantasy, big swords. It showed like some creatures and some dragons and things like that. just a little disappointing, but if you're into From Software type of games, that, brutal difficulty type of game, it looks like, that from all accounts, from what I've been reading and hearing, that's going to be right up right up your guys' alley as well. And then after that, they talked about Xcloud. It'll be, you can play on the go or console streaming. For all of the E3 attendees, you can actually go hands-on with Project Xcloud. And then for those that have an Xbox One X at home, that basically turns your console into a dedicated server when you go live with Xcloud. It does have an October release date. Again, you can play anywhere. That's kind of the point. It is interesting that they are coming out, it looks like about a month ahead of Google Stadia. They didn't really go into the details of, how it works, anything like that. Again, that's probably by design. They didn't want to bog us down with too many technical details. But, if the promise, or if they deliver on the promise that, I can pull up my tablet, or I can pull up my PC, or, my laptop or my phone, and, I can play Halo or Gears or, Forza anywhere. And, that makes it very appealing. And, that's going to be a big seller to a lot of people. And then, they come out, or Phil Spencer comes out, they reinforce the play anywhere, anytime with anyone, message that they've been championing, for the past several months. And then obviously the E3. Then they talk a little bit about Project Scarlett. It was not a full blown reveal. They'll probably save that for their own dedicated, event. They talk about, they had a bunch of first party developers come on and talk about, it's built in such a way that they're going to have, less load times, and that they have an AMD processor. I don't remember the exact chipset, but it's supposed to be 4 times better than the One X. Frame rate up to 120 frames per second, up to 8K visuals, solid state drive, which can be used as virtual RAM. Holiday 2020 release date or release window. They didn't even name it officially. It's still being, talked about as Project Scarlett. So again, nothing that we weren't expecting, I don't think. It's going to be more powerful than this generation. So that's basically what we got. And then they kind of ended the conference with Halo. They did say that Halo will launch with Project Scarlett in holiday 2020. It showed an in-engine footage. A guy wakes up on it looks like a derelict ship. He looks like he was knocked unconscious. He wakes up, the lights are flashing around him. He's, the ship is in critical danger of, exploding or whatever. And he goes, he fixes the problem. He passes out. And then it shows that, when he wakes up that he's alerted to a life form floating outside. And he goes to the window and sees that it's Master Chief. He brings him in, basically reroutes the power to Master Chief's suit, boots him up. And then, Master Chief walks up to the window and sees that Halo has been destroyed. Then the lights start flashing again. They're being attacked by something or someone. And then, he says that we need to run. And Master Chief says, no, we need to fight. He opens the back of the plane or back of the ship. And, he runs, Master Chief runs out, and then it kind of cuts to white. And then we hear Cortana speaking to him about, how they're a great match, and that's why she chose him. But again, very disappointed in the fact that we didn't get any gameplay. We just got a cinematic trailer. Again, obviously they have plenty of time to, show this game off. They have until, they have 18 months, basically 16, 17, 18 months. So we'll obviously get our chance to see this game. But I think everybody was just expecting a little more. It was a good conference. I don't think it was great. And maybe that's just our, enthusiast press, YouTubers, gaming industry. I think maybe we just bought into the hype a little bit more because, Sony decided not to show up, that, and Microsoft decided to, hey, this is going to be our biggest and best conference. We're going to show off 14 first-party games, 60 games overall. We're going to talk about Xcloud and the next generation. I think that we just maybe read into that a little too much. And, we were expecting like a full reveal of Halo and a full reveal of Gears and the full reveal of Xcloud and the next generation. And that's not really what we got. We basically, anytime that those type of announcements came up in the conference, they just talked about basically wait until next gen, wait till 2020, and again, I think that just kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this, is that they have conceded this generation. They didn't tell us, why do we need, what game is coming out this fall, or what game, other than Gears. But we didn't see a whole lot of that. But what is coming out? What are the titles and the reasons to pick this up now? Like, why should we invest in Xbox now? Again, Xcloud is coming out this fall, so that's a big plus. Gears is coming out this fall, so that's a big plus. But it just seemed like their heavy hitters were, wait till 2020. And I think maybe we knew that going in to a certain degree. We obviously, the rumors and everything was, the next generation is going to start next year. So it makes sense to, hold off all the big announcements or all the big news until then. Just a very good conference. It was a very weird conference in a lot of ways. They made some choices that were just very strange. Like the Gears announcement was very extra, like all the pyrotechnics and the fire and, the camera going through the stage and underneath the stage. It was just very strange. It was cool. But it just, I don't know what I was expecting, but it was more than that. And I'm actually recording this. We're recording this right after the conference ended. So I have not even been online on Twitter or anything to see the reaction, like the overall reaction to the conference. But, we'll see. I'm still excited for the future of Microsoft. I've probably been more excited for Microsoft, coming out of this conference, all things considered, than I have been for a while. Have not played, or have not owned, I should say, an Xbox console since the early 360 generation. I had a couple Xbox 360s at the very beginning of last generation, but had a couple red rings and switched to PS3 after being tired of dealing with that, and kind of went the PS3 route, and then bought a PS4 and skipped over the Xbox One generation entirely. But wondering how these things play out. I'm very intrigued by it. Game Pass is a huge seller. Xcloud would be huge if I can, buy the game and play it anywhere. Halo and Gears are known quantities. Ori, it looks amazing. So, there are some great things coming in the future, but that's all they gave us was, the future. I don't think they gave us too much to talk about, or, too much of a reason to pick up an Xbox now. Let's wait until next year, and then we'll give you all the reasons A to Z on why you should, pick Microsoft this next gen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I am going to be doing a Bethesda reaction. They are going on at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to watch that. I believe that one is an hour long. So, as soon as that wraps up, I will record. I'm going to do my best to get these edited and up on YouTube and podcast services before the end of the night. So bear with me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts and impressions in the comments below. Tweet at me at SavePointVids. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to see if, you guys felt the same way that I did. Again, you can find us at youtube.com/SavePointVids. Follow us on all the major platforms at SavePointVids. And until next time, you guys stay safe.